Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Space 2 Awakening, where I think we're in pretty good position to push Pink around a little bit, but it's still going to be pretty hard to take anything, take any systems off of him by force. The problem is, we just don't have enough ability to deliver manpower to planets. So that's a thing we're going to want to address in the near future. Actually, you know what? I guess it's not really that bad, is it? Because I'm still adjusting to the fact that we got to start with a bunch of military technology. We already have access to the good siege module. Okay, so what we're going to do, in fact, the way we're going to solve this is, we're just going to build ourselves some siege weapons, which is to say we're going to build some normal ships, but loaded down with those modules. And that's how we're going to take his stuff. So for the moment, I think we stick to the plan where we're generating ships, we're building stuff on Aquarius. Pretty soon we're going to want to throw this other law on. So that has a cost of 26 influence per turn, which actually we can afford to pay without even removing the other law. And if it looks like if our population grows too quickly and we start to have trouble, remember we already have a Temple of the Lost on Pisces 3, so we could just move people over to here and start generating a considerable amount of influence. And actually, we're about to start generating population onto the surface of that planet. So, on the whole, I'm very pleased with our influence position this game. We have to stop ourselves from going bankrupt, but if we can get a couple of kills with that law active, that'll totally do it. So, is there anything else we need to do this turn? I don't think so. I think we're looking pretty good. If we were going to try to take over... Let me see here. Where are the manpower delivery modules? Okay, stuff like this. If we were going to try to take over their planets by brute force, we would want to develop a bunch of these manpower deployment limit increase modules and just drop 1,000 or 1,500 manpower on them all at once. You saw during the last game that a protracted ground battle is very much in the favor of the defender as long as the system has population, because they can just conscript members of their society into defense. You either want to conduct your siege mostly from space and only actually hit the ground when the enemy is weak, or you want to hit them fast on the ground with such overwhelming force that they don't even have time to pull off a big conscription, the way that we pulled off a big conscription against the Hisho and made it impossible for them to conquer us. So we could do something like this, but I think the siege modules are pretty nice. It's a pretty good solution to that problem. We are going to have to deal with the behemoth, which I think we can do. It has very few weapon systems. We just need more bodies in space, so... Now, of course, crewing a bunch of spaceships can be a little bit expensive in terms of manpower. We are producing as much manpower as we can. Naturally, manpower comes from food, and we're making an awful lot of food. Okay, we've met whoever this is. What do we got here? It's... Oh, the Cravers!
Interests of other races.
Wow. The game spawned me between the Hisho and the Cravers. Well, I guess we were going to end up conducting an awful lot of violence here, whether we wanted to or not. This is just a very warlike setup. I guess we should go and investigate. Also, I don't want to be at this node when that pirate ship that's right there arrives, obviously. Yeah, Craver vessels. For the moment, here on turn 29, it's entirely possible that we're the only one who has proper military ships, because you do have to research a thing to get access to them. I'm hoping that it's the case that everybody else is just on scouts and they're this initial behemoth for a little while longer. We want to press our advantage as much as we can, and we've not been super fast about it. It would be 1.1k to buy that out. I mean, realistically, we can't do that. We can't even really think about that. Once Aquarius 1 fills up, we'll have people on Aquarius 2, which has pretty decent dust output. We're, of course, generating more dust-producing population just as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, we have to get to 20 of them to get the dust boost. That's very inconvenient. The Nakalim are getting close to their dust boost as well, though. We should be okay. And we're now producing a ton more influence, which means we did have a berth into the Temple of the Lost. I'm just going to go ahead and start running the Spoils of War Act now then. in case we end up, you know, fighting a Craver or a pirate or something somewhere. We want to make sure we're getting benefit. How's my hack doing? It reached Hidel. Okay, so still some distance. Still some distance to cover. We could potentially be preparing faster. We could try just taking them over through influence generation. I think we might, if we're going to try to do that, we're probably better off taking Hamal and then using Hamal to generate influence to pass a bunch of this stuff over to the Academy rather than trying to take Hamal over that way, because Hamal has this big influence bubble already, and I think that's a more sensible way to do that. Also, it is a little bit difficult to take a player's capital through influence generation, because capitals have a little bit of free influence from the Empire capital structure. Here we go, Galactic HQ. Do we need? We have 5 population slots left here, so we don't need to grab Altair 1 just yet. And how's our hero doing? Is he getting close to his level? He's getting fairly close. So remember, heroes on systems get XP when stuff is finished in the system. Oh, actually, we capped this planet out. Right, because the Zirmisala that we shipped over from the capital arrived. Well, that being the case, we need to figure out something else to do here. I might throw up a colonial exchange on this planet just to get some income going. You know what? I'm not even going to bother, because we're going to be building ships here for a while. Is there anything we can do in the short term? Oh, well, we have enough food. We have enough red sang to do that. We should definitely do that. And then this is actually kind of important. Yeah, it's not more important than completing the Xeno-industrial infrastructure, but it matters. We should definitely get our modernization up, though. 60 food is a huge increase in our food output. And actually, we should ship Zirmisala over to the New World. Seed Aquarius with a new population type, so that we can start getting Zirmisala developed there as well, because we're going to run out of population space in the other spots. So how many ships do we need before we make the move? The Behemoth has received some upgrades. He's researching Behemoth tech. 26,000 health now with 1,000 defense. It's going to be a real pain in the ass to kill that thing. Maybe our plan does have to be focus on influence generation and try to pass him off that way, and we just use our ships for defense or fighting Cravers. We're probably going to have to fight some Cravers. Yeah, that Behemoth is starting to worry me. And once we get our medium ships, it won't be so bad. But I was kind of hoping to use the science from doing battle with the Hisho to generate the tech to get those medium ships, which looks like it's maybe increasingly unrealistic. We've discovered the planet Bigeli. A hospitable, if dry planet, rich in natural resources, Bigeli served as the base for the endless research stations that were built in its orbit. One of them in particular, Litum, has a fairly legitimate claim as being the first place in Endless history where the science of virtualization was perfected. For better or worse, this fact has given it an important role in the mythos of the Endless civilization. Okay, and that is a system that is owned by the Cravers. Well, I don't know that it benefits us terribly to push deeper into Craver territory with this very injured scout ship, but I wanted to get a little bit of vision and figure out where it made sense to shoot the probes. And then you can just get the hell out of there. Do we want to try to starve the Cravers off of Wasat? Is that a thing that we need to do? I'm actually not certain. I'm going to, for the moment, continue to gather ships around Aquarius. I'm not 100% giving up on that attack, but it does seem a little more difficult now. Okay, get new population types. That quest just kind of finishes on its own. You don't really have to think about it very hard. There are so many events that give you extra population, and... Oh, right, sure, we're broke. We absolutely are. That's a good point. The good news is we're generating resources fairly quickly, and we're not actually losing that much money per turn. You see, the influence bubble of Pisces is about to start pushing back the pirate influence bubble. I'm not really sure what's going to happen once we get that done. I will say your influence being over a pirate station makes it way easier to defeat the pirate station, because your ships can refill with your manpower, your empire's manpower, as long as they're in the influence bubble of one of your systems. So you can actually just feed the empire manpower pool directly into the battle that way. Okay, definitely continue boosting the Zir Masala. Okay, we could adjust our battle tactics for free again if we wanted. And then this thing occurred. What is our approval level looking like right now? We are in a place at this moment where a loss of 10 approval has literally no effect. Nobody's gonna drop from content to anything else. So I think that's the way we gotta go with this. We're not far enough away from the election. Actually, this increases scientist political ideology for 20 turns anyway. This is guaranteed to affect an election. I kind of would prefer the religious ideology. I think religious militarist makes a lot of sense for our government, but I really, really don't want to lose 15 industry on all of our colonies at the moment. Okay, so you get out of there. What is the story with this system? Wow, that's going to become a colony really quickly. So this having 40 food output is definitely... Yeah, it's definitely them having doubled its output. But how the hell did they get to 40? The planet's base output is 9. Well, we could try to starve them the way we starved that Hisho colony on Aquarius, but I don't know that I think it would be successful. Maybe we shouldn't bother. Maybe it's okay to let them take some stuff over here. If I don't plan to actually inhabit any of these worlds, if I'm going to just pass this whole area off to the Academy, maybe it doesn't really matter if they take this. I should note, by the way, that when I went to launch the game today, it was patching, and one of the things in the new patch is that the Academy no longer blocks your trade routes unless you are formally at war with them. So the behavior we saw last game was not intended and won't happen again. And we discovered a minor faction world. Oh, hey, that's neat. We have enough influence this game to really kind of throw our weight around. I'm just going to praise them 3 times, and that's going to get us to that threshold pretty quickly. I don't want to send a ship down here to explore this curiosity. We have plenty of influence to play with. So 5 small ships. Oh, it's going to be 6 in a second here. 6 small ships, probably not enough to take on that behemoth. I can't imagine. I'm trying to give the pirate ship that we saw in the star lane here time to hit Gia and then move off. Although I guess it doesn't make any sense for me to try to gather the relic now, because a pirate fleet's going to spawn there in 2 turns and attack my ship anyway. Is this my population? Oh no, this is a food ship that was sent before Aquarius finished settling. I think that might be the population ship. Yeah, there we go. Once Aquarius has this thing up, I mean, it's going to be a little while before this planet is functional as a manufacturing sector, although the huge amount of food definitely helps. Sustainable farms would not be terrible here. We have 3 planets, one of which is cold. Well, let's get at the very least the Xenotourism agencies done, and then we'll talk about other stuff. Alright, and it looks like it does not keep any progress, because we did do this for 1 turn earlier, right? So now we know it has to be 4 consecutive turns. Which is good information that I don't think we had before. Not, unfortunately, super helpful at the moment. We could just go for it. But the new pirate ships are going to be more powerful than the old pirate ships. The base is level 2. So probably we will not be able to fight whatever spawns here. It's probably going to be 2 ships. Yeah, I don't know. I want that relic really badly, but we're probably going to have to actually just send some military ships over there to take control of it. Alright, right here, what do we want to do? Well, interplanetary transport network, actually, very good. And then we'll figure it out after that's done. We have a lot of production capability. We're about to have access to the boarding pods. We're going to have to figure out some new ship designs in a second here. We also need to get in some fights that we can win. We need to take advantage of this law. I was kind of hoping the Hisho were going to fly more scouts over to us to fight us for no reason, but they seem to have given up on that plan. Who can imagine why? And they're founding lots of little tiny poorly defended colonies, which probably is going to end up being pretty good for us. Our next hero, we might want to take a combat hero. All right, so that's weird. The production queue thing pop-up said that this would only take 4 turns, didn't it? Well, I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than the number we were seeing before, and we do need the income. And it's filling up pretty quickly. So in a second here, we're going to have 6 ships at Aquarius. Behemoth has not seen any further upgrades. It's just a huge amount of health to get through. What kind of weaponry is it using? It's entirely projectile weapons. So that's pretty good for us. We have a lot of projectile defenses. Gonna have this guy leave Gia just so that the pirates don't spawn on him and immediately attack him. You guys are in guard mode until your reinforcements finish arriving. What else could we be doing with these scouts? It's a shame that we're completely surrounded by so many hostile figures, because I'd love to like be looking for other minor factions, but I just don't think it's going to be easy for us to get out of here. I suppose what we could do is like send one of the scouts to IC-4725 and just shoot probes out in this direction, hoping there's something we can jump to via free space without using the star lanes. Alright, so we got our thing here. We have an assault plan. We could continue to push up the military tree, but I'm wondering if this is the moment that we want to turn around and start grabbing medium ship designs. The actual cost of this technology is 4,500, so if we could win some battles, like the science generated by that law is actually a pretty considerable chunk. Maybe what we want to do is declare formal war on the Hisho and just start flying around shooting their scouts. We probably can't fight the Behemoth, but we could fight everything else they're running. Yeah, let's wait for the rest of these ships to show up. I think this Warden is not going with them. We'll build another ship after this, and then we'll use it. We'll use the 2 of them together to threaten Gia. So let's talk about siege weapons. Actually, what we should probably do is create a new ship design. So we can pick one of our hulls. I want the Invitatory class, because that's going to have the most support slots on it. And the way we would traditionally do this is just like load this thing up with siege modules, so when orbiting a planet, it is now doing 21 siege damage per turn for each one of these things in the system. And then we should probably, I guess, not do that. We should probably put some engines on it. Okay, so 14, and then, you know, like rudimentary weapon systems, because you don't really have room for anything else. Let's say one of these. This, by the way, is a weapon. It goes in the weapon slot, so you still want to use ships that have a lot of weapons for doing this. You can see there at the bottom an explanation of how they work. They reduce the manpower on the enemy ship every second. If the enemy ship's manpower gets down to 0, then they capture it. It is honestly pretty easy a lot of the time to start stealing enemy ships. Once they get wise to you, they'll switch over to bullet weapons, which will allow them to shoot down the boarding pods. So there's a little bit of a defense game to be played there. You want to arm your ships with laser weaponry to try to counteract that. Because obviously, if you go to missiles, they're just going to shoot those down. If you go to bullets, you're getting into their optimal range. And I wouldn't bother spending strategics on the weapon systems of this ship because you really don't want the ship to be getting into combat. Oh yeah, we have to name this thing. Trying to think, I can't remember the name of any of the good Viking invasion. We'll just call it the siege ship. We'll just be real straightforward about it. And then if we were going to attempt boarding pod stuff, we would probably want to make a fresh design for that too, because we want to still have access to basic shooting ships. So just put a bunch of boarding party modules on there. Now, unfortunately, that means this ship ends up with no traditional guns, which could be a little bit of a problem. So we could do something like this to let these guys catch up to the fleet as it stands now. I don't know. I don't know if we actually want to build any of these. We might want to wait until we have the medium design to take advantage of the boarding vessels. Another downside is that, of course, ships that are boarded are not destroyed, so they do not set off the Spoils of War Act. But you never capture everything in a battle anyway, and there are some things obviously that you can't capture. Yeah, let's let this finish. We'll let that finish. We'll figure it out. We definitely want to fight some pirates here in a second, because I could really use the science and dust. Okay, hero hit level 5. Trying to watch for the pirate to leave Gia. I guess we can just get some better vision here.
Our purpose is to kill.
Okay, they want dust from me. Obviously, we're not going to do that because I can't afford to. Also, it's just not generally a good policy to accept those kinds of demands. It just leads to more of those kinds of demands in the future. Alright, we did it. 60 potatoes, 2 more relics. A strong leader in the right place, as I suspected, will get results. Some people may grumble, but our path is clear, and our star will shine as it never did before. Nothing can stop us. The Nakalim will retake their rightful place in the galaxy. Okay, the population is not just grumbling, not just unhappy, but striking and marching. Listen, we got some problems. So, have at least 3 level 2 systems with temples. Pass a religious law. Or increase your minor civilization population. We have the religious party, right? Yeah. Okay. Got it. We will pass 1 religious law this next turn here. Actually, we'll just do it right now. I'll kill lower fleet costs for a second, and we'll run species stability for a single turn. Oh, didn't even have to keep it for a turn. I thought it might check at the beginning of the next turn. And I hope that with this I can silence their complaining and reorient the power of their faith. I too share their dreams for the return of the lost. I too lived the first part of the prophecy. But between the first and the next, I still have an empire to lead. Okay, so reach 1950 manpower in your empire. Pretty simple to do. We're going to already be working on this. Or we could increase diplomatic pressure on another empire. So we're probably going to be doing this no matter what, because we're going to start pushing on people's influence bubbles. But making this choice gives us some more militarist political ideology. We have an election coming up in a second here. And you cannot abolish a law on the same turn that you institute it, so we're going to have to wait until next turn to switch that back Do we want to make some boarding vessels? Probably not. I do think I want to make some siege ships, though. And there's not a hugely important system improvement to make here. I guess this is pretty okay. Pretty small amount of science relative to the amount that we are now generating via Relic, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on making weapons. So can we get a sense of the manpower present on these systems? 40 infantry, 40 infantry. They don't have much. It would not take a lot of siege ships to burn them down. Okay, give me one more. Do we want a standard boarding vessel? Or do we want a standard squire? Or do we want boarding vessels? Because we could steal the pirate ships. I mean, they're not very good. Yeah, they're not very good. Screw that. Let's just make a couple of ships with guns and then go over there and kill that pirate base. We don't even have to necessarily kill the pirate base. We just have to be able to orbit it. The Cravers are expanding rapidly here. Which, again, is not necessarily the end of the world, given what's going to happen with the influence bubble on Pisces. One thing I would really like is if we could inhabit this. So our science per turn jumped up pretty sharply there. Where is this? Yeah, this is colonize ice. We could grab this. It's not very expensive. Maybe do it like this. I still want to get to the medium designs quickly. But once this world is inhabited, it's pretty large and pretty bad for us, so we will also convert this into a temple, and we'll just have a ton of temple population on this system, in addition to the fact that everyone on Psychagoja is generating influence. This will be like the highest influence system ever. Yeah, I think that's right. So you're just gonna stay put for the moment. These ships are almost in place, and then I think we are going to do a little bit of marauding over here in Hisha land. So we've been working hard to pump out military ships for pretty much the entire time since the last election.
Our purpose is to
I have to imagine that our people are probably feeling pretty... Militarist is not actually leading pacifist by all that much. Surprise, surprise, lots and lots of Nakalim continue to be born. Yeah, our defense fleet on this side is just going to have the scout ships in it. We don't really have a ton of important scouting for them to do. Still a few turns off of being able to take a quest from these guys. If we did get control of them, probably the smartest thing to do would just be to convert some of their planets into temples right away and try to put out a lot of influence pressure over here. I don't need to own stuff, I just need them not to own the stuff. And we're starting to see a little bit of a fight here between the influence bubbles. So... oh, let me swap that law, because I actually don't want species stability right now. And we are still building warships, so this helps. Okay. That thing happened. We were not in the top 3 in terms of military research. The Cravers were, though, so that's a thing to keep in mind while dealing with them. The galactic census is coming up. I mean, honestly, none of this stuff really helps us. These rewards are really tiny. In less than 20 turns, possess 2 ships of at least 202 offensive power. I think probably that'll happen. Without me having to put any effort into it. Alright, we're now cordial with those guys, which is going to help because they're going to be giving us free stuff. Luxury prices have increased. You know, honestly, I don't think we need these potatoes at all. Just try to bankroll our development a little bit here. Unfortunately, while we do have Red Sang and Dark Glitter deposits, we don't have very good income from them. They're pretty weak deposits. What do we want to do here? Do we want to just buy those 2 out? Right, 55 approval, so building the infinite supermarkets wouldn't get us over the threshold by itself, but that plus a luxuries lottery totally would. So maybe that's the move? And we probably do want to make sustainable farms. And then, actually, interplanetary transport network, also very good. You know what? I'm just going to buy that. That's what we're going to do with that big windfall of dust. Because that's going to affect both of the 2 planets that we want to have a lot of population on. It's just like immediately a ton of extra industry. Okay, that Zimasala is just about to arrive, so that's good. We gotta kind of keep tending our garden for the moment, in addition to all this other stuff that we're doing. So let's have a quick look at our pressure readout with the Hisho. Minus 2.9 from border friction means that their capital is generating more influence than Aquarius is. There's a couple of ways we could deal with that. A blockade of their capital would reduce its influence output, meaning that the circle starts expanding slower, or we could just start moving population from Aquarius 1 to Aquarius 4, or maybe what we actually want to do is ship a bunch of population. Yeah, maybe that's the smart move. Let's ship some population from Psychagogia over to Aquarius. That'll help out, and Psychagogia is going to regenerate those pop points very quickly. Figure out what this is. This is a good time for that. We probably don't want to do it from the capital. We have a lot of room left in the capital. People gotta keep growing. Yeah, that's fine. Stupid, powerful behemoth. It hasn't seen any more upgrades. How's my hack going? Okay, it's getting there. When the hack arrives, we'll do the embed sleeper and see the current position of all their fleets thing again. That'll give us some idea what we're looking at. So they're just developing. I'm not allowed to just view all of their structures. Okay. So you can see here they have this whole weird system that replaces approval, and they have a strange resource to manage and stuff. So part of the value of that for us is that it really constrains their options in combat. They have to fight in a way that their people view as honorable, or else they lose a lot of face, and we can definitely work that to our advantage.
Feel free to anger us.
Okay, is that a formal declaration of war? That's a "we are going to declare war on you soon" message from 2 different players. Not a great turn for us, if I'm being honest. That's alright, we've been building warships this whole time. Yeah, so maybe we can't fight the behemoth right now, but we could do some real damage to these guys. We probably want to get Aquarius set up to defend itself. I think I'm going to go ahead and delay the temple. This stuff is way more important. We are kind of a production powerhouse now, though. We've gotten to a good place on that. The spin project is probably also a good thing to put up. Like, let's get all of that influence output going. This is going to be really important for Aquarius to generate a ton of influence. And we're waiting one more turn for this guy to join up before we go over to Gia and show them who is the boss. And we have this siege vessel. Do we want to use the siege vessel to help burn down the pirate manpower on Gia? As you can see, they do have 90 infantry worth of manpower. Or do we want to send it over to here to push on Pink? We probably want to push on Pink more. Speaking of troops, speaking of ground battle, we should probably do some of this. Right now we have the manpower necessary to adapt a full armor strategy. A little bit of what do you call it, logistical cost paying there. And then we can do this. If we want to upgrade the damage of our tanks, which we really do, we need to bank some resources and sell some stuff. How much Hyperium are we making per turn? Only 2. And our good combat ship designs use it. That's a little inconvenient. We also need to start thinking about our relics. It would be very helpful to me if we could pull another hero. I don't know exactly how long that's going to take, but I would love to have a fleet hero. We might have to convert What's-His-Face into a fleet hero. The difference between a fleet that has a good commander and a fleet that doesn't can be very large. Alright, let's merge you guys up and then go pirate hunting. So do we want to build more ships here? If we end up at war, Pisces will be the front on this side with the Cravers. So this might be a good time to grab, like, tractable armaments. Just make sure that we are ready for that fight. We don't need the... Yeah, we don't need the food output. We're going to refill already. And we made some room so that we could have some more Zermisala born, which is definitely the right move. What was in that deposit? It was nothing. It was 5 XP for ships in the system, but there aren't any ships in the system. Also, some Calgarus have shown up on Altair, which is pretty not... I guess Altair's fine. I would rather they showed up on Aquarius, but that's going to accomplish this quest. We're going to get that to fire at the beginning of the next turn. And we probably don't actually want to put the siege ships and these guys in the same fleet. We want to keep the siege ships out of battle as much as possible. Let's definitely infiltrate their scanners. Show me the locations of all of their fleets. They have started to develop their own small warships. It seems like maybe they're going off to fight the Riftborn, though. Take advantage of that confusion. We might want to try to do a similar hack if we could... I wish we knew where the Craver capital was. And it's a good thing that it's not super close to us. It means we have some hope of being able to... fight their frontier here without receiving constant reinforcements from their good systems. Wasat is awfully far away from Pisces. Like, it's probably not reasonable to try to influence bubble all 4 of these systems. Honestly, though, if we could take Lakim by force, because it's a unique planet, it will have influence generation, and then we could temple up over here. They have 14 population on that already. That's pretty not ideal for us. Oh, right, I do need to assign a new hack. So do we keep going after the Hisho, or do we start working on the Cravers? The thing is, it's so easy to hack the Hisho capital. See, if we run the hack like this, it'll happen way faster, but their traceback will also be a lot easier. That said, if we run encryption on Aquarius, that's not what I wanted. If we run encryption on Aquarius, there we go, and keep the accelerator on Hamal, I think we should be fine. Yeah, that's probably okay. Everybody's building the things they need to build, preparing for war. Food stockpiling is an important part of preparing for war. To make sure that our Empire manpower and our system defensive manpower are both filling at the fastest possible rate. Oh, Aquarius has been hacked. God only knows by who. Alright, collect this for me. And while we're here collecting this, we are also slowly sieging their system. You've read the reports, and it looks like luxury resource generation across all your systems is exceeding expectation. You can already anticipate the response from your advisors, though. The industrialists will advise you to quietly shore up the Empire's economy with the extra goods, while the religious contingent I want you to make a big show of thanking the gods for a bountiful harvest. Well, again, the religious political ideology would be nice to have, but this does nothing for us. All of our systems already have our maximum development level, and this is extra warships, so don't really have a choice there.
Pleasure to force the...
Okay, bureaucratic imbroglio is not ideal. So he's trying to get a really strong pressure push on us. We should probably push back on that.
For to die stabbing each other.
It's a lot of influence to burn, though.
That I'd like that.
My guess is there's going to be some influence cost associated with declaring their property, declaring that their property belongs to the academy. So I don't know that we necessarily want to burn, and also we're kind of negative right now. Yeah, let's not do that. We'll fight back the old-fashioned way, with guns. Do we want to send the Calgaros to Aquarius? The thing is, Calgaros are not like an amazing population type. They provide a lot of approval, which is fine. They are religious. They give extra influence. Man, maybe they would be an okay fit. And Aquarius does have... Yeah, Aquarius does have fertile worlds. So actually, that kind of makes sense. Oh, hold on. We gotta redistribute our population here a little bit. I'm gonna make sure all you guys are over there. Yeah, that is better. But I think what might be even better is these guys on Aquarius. We also really need to start dealing with all of the disapproval we're getting from overexpansion. Taking Altair 1 is only kind of a solution, because as you can see, each citizen on Altair 1 is going to be really unhappy to be there. So, I mean, we'll build this as a little bit of a safeguard, but that's not going to turn out the way we want it to. And ISO is looking like it might be the first world that that we get to hand off to the Academy, or the first system, rather. So we have those first couple of siege ships on the way. That'll make it a lot easier to take Kuma. I don't want to delay any longer than we have to, but I'm wondering if we do have to delay a little bit longer. Okay, next turn we'll be able to take their quest. So their Hawks are all energy weapons with all energy defenses, which is pretty tacked against us. 173, 160 with 3,200 health versus their much smaller amount of health, for one thing. Our ships are pretty tough. Yeah, I'm pretty bummed out about their good ship design, their good counter design here. The thing is, we could just redesign to projectile weapons to beat their energy defenses. What? We have a diplomatic option with him. You know what? I'm not going to worry about this. I don't actually even want him to remove the outpost. I wanna let him build that and then hand it off to the Academy because I think it will be funny. Also, probably effective. It's a good way of wasting his resources. So I guess let's just end the turn. We probably want to let a couple of these siege ships arrive, and then we'll go down to Kuma and engage and see what happens. We'll throw our official support behind the militarists. I'm a little worried about the outcome of this election, honestly. The industrialists got pretty close there. Alright, so we lost our militarist law, which is a bummer. We got Righteous Fury instead. Righteous Fury is fine. But we were about to start getting free approval from being at war with the Hisho, and now that's not going to happen. The Admit and Improve bill is fine. Not hugely exciting. And once Aquarius is... okay, we have them. Once Aquarius is done building that... Okay, sure, we should build the planetary improvements, but once we're done with that, we can start just producing warships here. I guess shipyards. And then we can start producing warships. We should go and talk to the Epistis. What would they need us to do in order to come and join us? Reach 9 population, excluding your main population inhabitants. Okay, working on it. Interesting that lifting the lamp didn't fire when we got the Calgaros. It's definitely supposed to. It usually does. This is a totally trivial battle. We don't need to worry about this at all. And hey, look at that. We finally made some resources. Alright, yeah, those pirates are dealt with. We don't even really need to invade the thing. Obviously we will once it makes sense to do so, but we're also getting close to the amount of resources that would allow us to improve our tanks a little bit more. Actually, we definitely have enough titanium to make this work. How much of this am I bringing in per turn? Wow, 12 now. Okay, well, that will do it. Let's go 50 of it. That gives us a lot of money to work with, and still way more titanium than we need, probably. And then we can jump in here, do this now before I forget. Plus 20% health, plus 20% damage on the troop type that is naturally good against the troop type that the AI prefers is going to put us in a pretty good place. That has come to an end, which is great for us. This has also come to an end, which is less great for us. Please keep boosting that. Empire manpower is not low. It's just not correct. Alright, for 10 turns, keep Pisces clear of enemy ships. We don't really have any control over whether that happens or not. There's too many people nearby. And I'm not going to stress about it. I don't really care. Pretty soon we're going to start pushing back pretty hard. Interesting that the Zirmis Sala chose to go to Aquarius 4 rather than Aquarius 2, which is objectively better. Like, in every way, and also fits the population type better. Don't really understand what drove that decision there. And I think we probably don't want to spend any more money right now. Like, we could rush these, but I'm wondering if saving the money to actually just rush ships instead might make more sense. Not that we need to rush ships right at the moment, but in case we do. For when we do, rather. So do we declare war? I mean, I guess with Righteous Fury enacted, we don't have to declare war. We can just go and screw with the Hisho now. So let's go do that. We're close enough to Aquarius that we could come back if we wanted to. And the siege ships can follow just behind. I want to make sure that we clear out. They know we're here, they run their defenses back, we fight them, and then the siege ships show up would be ideal. You know what, it just struck me that 6 population... increasing our population from 6 to 9, I think the 6 points is not taking into account the Calgaros that are on this population ship. So when this lands, it's gonna almost complete the quest by itself. Alright, we got attacked by pirates again, which is absolutely fine. I'll take all of your science and dust as well. Yeah, we're not even really taking damage anymore.
Anger us.
Nope, I refuse. I refuse to remove my fleets. Feel free to do something about it.
Feel free to anger us.
Okay, he has denounced us to the other empires. I do wish that it wouldn't play the voice... Like, there's a bunch of voice lines associated with each different type of response. I wish it wouldn't play them more than once per turn. Like, if he's already told me to feel free to suffer, that's good, I get it, I heard him. Okay, so... It is pretty much just ships here, huh? We could continue shipping population over to Aquarius, I suppose. Maybe that's actually a good idea. Because we generate a lot of food in this system, and Aquarius has a lot of space available. Yeah, still like a ton of space. So continuing to box up people and mail them over there seems like a good idea. And then we do have the commander design now. Let's talk about command level ships. So we've seen that our opponents are going to energy defenses. What we might want to do is keep our small ships on energy weapons, but move our large ships over to projectile weapons. Although I guess another way that we could do this is just have this ship be fully a manpower thing. Now notice that boarding pods do have a manpower cost, and also it just takes a lot of manpower to run one of these things in the first place. And remember that there's a module multiplier, so all of the costs and effectiveness of this strategy are doubled. So we're looking at a total manpower cost of 700 to fully crew one of these things. Let's make a more traditional design first. I do kind of like the idea, though. And if we're going to do this, we have room on this ship to put down a projectile enhancer. I guess the question is, do we want to run projectile enhancer, 2 armor modules, and a single engine, leaving us at only 6 movement speed? Or do I want to do something like this engine-wise, which puts us in kind of a bad place in terms of defenses unless we give up the projectile enhancer. And these ships are valuable enough that it's probably worth... Oh, sorry, not that one. This one, there we go. That's the one we can put defenses in. I mean, that's like a pretty good ship. It's a pretty good ship for our needs, too. So it's well adapted. Now, a prostration class invasion ship, or boarding module, the Mind Controller, also has some significant value, obviously. Do we want to just do the same thing for the defenses? Like, these ships are fast, they get to the place they're going. We'll call this one the Mind Flayer. Does love to flay a mind. Always thought that was maybe one of the grossest names of any fantasy creature. So right now we have 742 manpower in the pool. We could create a mind flayer and just... Actually, these ships kind of look like illithid tentacles, like the bottom of an illithid's face flying directly at you. It's very thematically appropriate. We could make one of these, attach it to that fleet over there, and then just anybody who comes near us is going to have to deal with some serious trouble. But I think actually what I want to do is produce one of these. The commander's going to be way better for fighting the behemoth, which is a thing that I do, like, we need to be able to do, right? We have to be able to fight that guy. I'm not going to worry too much about the Cravers for the moment. The first time we remove one of their systems from their control, they're going to go completely nuts on us. So we do need to have a fleet ready to intercept, but we don't have to fight them right this second. Oh man, Kuma has like no defenses. Wow, let's just get the rest of the ships over here. We may as well drop with as much manpower as possible. Okay, we pulled that relic. Do I want to... It's actually going to take 10 turns for that ship to build? I mean, it won't really, right? Because we'll produce a couple more points of population, and they'll work a little bit on psychic... Yeah, the system just doesn't really have that much industry. Interplanetary transport network is of somewhat limited value because of the fact that the Temple of the Lost is reducing the industry output of this world. Yeah, this is actually just not a good place to be building ships, because we didn't notice because the other ships we were building were so cheap. Well, I mean, this helps a little bit. let's just build the commander. I mean, obviously we have other places that we can build ships as well. We probably should colonize Altair 1, though. We're running out of population space over here. And then we do want to build Denark University. I don't know if it goes here. Honestly, Aquarius might be a better spot for it. Aquarius has so much population. So much space for population, rather. And then its position is way better for using influence to bully people. And by people, of course, I mean just this one player. But I do want to bully him. Alright, so they flew some ships over here. We're just going to have at them. They are outnumbered. They probably, what their plan was to fly a couple of his smaller fleets over here together, combine, and then fight me all at once. But he didn't really plan out the logistics of that very well. It turns out logistics is an important part of war. So we're going to fight. He is not going to retreat. There's almost no chance that he'll retreat. He does have weapon systems that are well adapted to fighting us. But we have superior numbers, not just in the sense that we have, more ships, but also in the sense that because we have so many more ships, we get to have a flotilla advantage. I think this is a good way to go. Let's see exactly how bad this is. Anytime a battle's going to be a little bit close, I like to see, plus 75% shield absorption is a nice play. That said, I think they're going to have a pretty limited ability to deal damage to our side flotilla there, so hopefully... No, not really. The way the battle plan worked out here, unfortunately, there's a lot of broadside action available to them. What I would really like is a zoom level that lets me see... There we go. The health bars of their individual ships, but also the health bars of my ships. So remember, right now, their flotilla is operating at pretty non-optimal weapons range. And that's true for both of us, but they really... They are really outnumbered. It turns out numbers count for a lot. Also, the fact that my ships just have like 60% more health than theirs do also counts for a lot. That's just a thing, different factions have different base stats on their ship hulls. We don't have particularly good module slots, so that's the sort of like the advantages paid off to us in other ways, like very good base health. Just run through to here, that'll be... Oh, that was nice. That was a lovely reward. And this will be him calling up to tell me to stop doing that.
Anger us.
And I'm going to refuse. So, our diplomatic pressure situation is getting a little bit more complicated. His border friction bonus on us is falling, and we're getting some from other stuff. We're still suffering a lot from his bureaucratic imbroglio, which I am not interested in countering with our own.
Feel free to anger us.
Okay, he's generating additional defense for his systems. I don't really care. They're going to have to generate a lot of additional defense for it to start mattering. So we only have 280 manpower in this fleet because of the fact that scouts don't really carry a full complement of warriors. No big military detachment on the scout ships. So it would take kind of a long time to burn this down to the point where we could actually reasonably take it over. I think we'll probably just sit here for a minute, though, because they're about to generate another fleet. We'll blow up that fleet, and then we'll figure out what we want to do. Do I want to... I'm trying to figure out what my plan is here. Like, we flew in so that he would fight us, and so that we would get the payout of him fighting us, and that's working fine. I'm not 100% sure how I want to conduct this war, though. After Aquarius finishes the big data shipyard, we should probably... Yeah, we can build one of these over here way faster than we can build it in the other place. We're still going to build the one that we're building over there, but we need one out faster than that. And then once we have that medium ship, we could probably attack this behemoth, and we could just go for it. This behemoth can be for the Craver/Pirate front. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So it probably is just a full frontal war. We're not going to try to rely on influence growth against him, or at least not for taking Hamal. Once we have Hamal, we might turn Hamal into an influence factory, and then have that and Aquarius just kind of take over everything. We hit Hamal again. We could lock all his fleets for 5 turns, but I actually don't want to do that. I want his fleets moving around. I just want to know where they are. Because I want him to come over here and fight us. We have a significant advantage. We're almost getting to the point where we can use the manpower from the global manpower pool to attack Gia. What are you doing? Is he... I think he's going to go and try to settle on Hidel? I mean, I'm fine with that, I think. It'll be a little bit before we can take it over proper, but yeah, before we can expand an influence bubble over it, but that is exactly what's going to happen. Alright, so now that the siege ships are showing up, you can see the rate of defense reduction is going up pretty sharply. We gotta remember, we need a big advantage in manpower to take that system down, because it has 5 population, and that could be turned into an awful lot of defensive manpower. At this point, I guess let's go ahead and send one more hack over there. And this might be the time where we run the screw up their ground orders operation. And we'll just hit Hamal while that is up. Maybe. How's our population stuff going, threshold-wise? So we're almost at 10 Zirmisala, we're almost at 20 Nakalim. We're holding out now on Dust. We don't need them so desperately. Okay, we're rapidly filling up Aquarius 2, which I think is pretty valuable. Yeah, I don't think we want to shunt a bunch of people into the Temple of the Lost just yet. Especially if we're planning on taking Hamal by force. It ends up not being so important to do that. We should probably not have this as our selected... Oh yeah, I totally forgot about unexpected entropy. Whatever, we'll get there. But this is the one I want to have pinned. I want to just keep an eye on. Are we close to births? Okay, yeah, next turn Pisces is going to have a Zirmisala, so we're about to finish that, which means we're going to have a system in the middle of Craver space, which means we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with Nalin. Fortunately, we have the technology to colonize all of Nalin. This is probably a good place to spend a little bit of dust. Just get this place running as quickly as possible. How much short of a booster are we here? We have 24. You know what? I will buy a single Red Sang so that we can start working on the modernization this turn. And then they actually have a lot of the sort of core buildings built for us already. So we should check out this subterranean deposit. I'm wondering if that's a buyout. That's probably a buyout. I want to know what that is. And it's probably going to be right to colonize Nuln 4, especially since they already have all the buildings that give bonuses for Temple and Fertile Planets. That's also a buyout. Okay, I feel pretty comfortable with that. And we got 100 dust from doing that, which is fine. Yep, Pisces got passed by that that colonizer ship, which is whatever. You guys can blow him up pretty easily. We don't need to watch that one. Some Harashims were born on Aquarius. That suits me just fine. And the Nakalim would love it if we would do something. Have an ecologist law up, be the top contributor to an academy request, or have 70 approval in 2 systems. Okay. We're not on either of those right now, or any of those. None of the 3 of those are going to get accomplished very quickly at the moment. Let's see. Right now, they're just flying their hawks back over to fight us. I don't think they're going to move the behemoth. It's an economic behemoth. It's providing bonuses to that system. Yeah, not a ton of bonuses, but bonuses. I think we can sit here, wait for these ships to arrive, kill them, then take Kuma, then push on Hamal. Yeah, I think the next few turns are gonna feel real bad for the Hisho. All right, so we have this now. We're continuing to grow. Should probably grab our public-private partnerships. We don't really need more food. Maybe we do. At the very least, additional food can feed into the manpower pool, right? We don't need defensive structures here. I suppose an academy embassy. Yeah, this is maybe a thing that we should build. Speed up the rate at which we get new heroes. We also might want to just research access to the hero buying part of the market. So we're about to finish wave control, and I don't really have a plan beyond that. Let's run one more turn here. I will figure out what technology we want to research next between this episode and tomorrow's episode. I'm kind of curious if those warships are going to reach us this turn or not. Actually, only one of them is even... Never mind. None of them are flying in this direction. Okay. We finally got a... Okay, that's irrelevant. We finally got a new population type in a way that quest actually cares about. So that's good. Let's merge all the siege ships up. And we could just hang out here for 2 more turns and completely burn out their manpower before we land. I think that's maybe worth doing. We hit 20... Oh no, we hit 10 Zirmisala first. Yeah, we'll hit 20 Nakalim pretty soon, though. Alright, lots of building going on. So that system down there, Nalin, is going to be capable of building... Okay, it was a good Hyperium deposit. It's going to be capable of building ships pretty quickly once we get the population up, because it's got, first of all, pretty reasonable population here. And, like, secondly, once we take these worlds, we probably actually want to grab these now. Move the Epistis over there. The system's going to be unhappy for a little while, but they'll be producing so much food. Yeah, they will produce almost as much food on Nuln 1 or 2 as they do on Nuln 3, while also getting all of that extra industry, and then we'll be able to build enough ships to defend ourselves from the Cravers while we figure everything else out. Probably intensive cultivation is not worth doing. I think I actually want all our people over... Well, no, everybody wants to be on 4. Never mind. It's just a way better world. We're about to have our first point of Nakalim show up. We could try to ship some Zirmisala over here, but I'm concerned that they would get intercepted by Cravers and probably destroyed. Those civilian transport ships, not exactly bristling with weaponry and defenses, unfortunately. How long do we estimate the hack's going to take to arrive? Okay, well, I guess we don't want to make the move on Hamal until the commander is finished anyway. So, 2 turns, we'll burn out the rest of Kuma's garrison, then we'll take Kuma by force, then we'll move on to Hamal. The hack will execute, we'll screw up their ground defense tactics, and then we'll try to hit them a little earlier than we usually would on account of their screwed up defenses. That might work. That might be a functional plan. That is going to be it for us for today, though. We are unfortunately out of time. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, tomorrow. We're going to be developing a new phase of our plan. I think this Hisho thing, it's all over but the execution. We need to figure out what comes next. And we'll see you then.